This one. Thank you. Hi, welcome, good morning. I hope to have an interesting presentation so that you're interested in what we'd like to say. Hello, hi, sorry. So good morning, wake up. Nice presentation, blockchain factoring, you will see it on the screen. Invoice Cash and Credit Sky were established to provide a ton of interesting ideas, including artificial intelligence, data analytics, and innovative creative finance. We blended these two together in this very nice product, which is called blockchain factoring. It's democratizing finance. It allows SMEs to get good funding solutions at very attractive prices, integrate whole chain, supply chain finances under one roof, provide transparency, equality, traceability, and a ton of other features that you would like when you are a small or medium enterprise willing to export or get access to funding. I'll leave the floor to Eddie, who will show you the advantages of distributed ledger technology, also called blockchain.
So, hello everyone, my name is Edward Nakshu. I am the head of IT of Invoice Cash, and I will just start to tell you a couple of things about the blockchain. So when you think about blockchain, imagine a database that is replicated on an entire computer system. So you won't have like 7 databases, you will have just one that is live replicating on the same time. So the risk of data alteration is reduced to none. And the most important part is that it's programmable. It's secure because every single entry on the database is recorded on real time and on multiple channels. It's anonymous, unanimous, and the greatest benefit is that every single entry is time-stamped. So at any given time, you can trace where a problem occurs. It's distributed across an entire ledger, so the problem will not be when you are doing cross-border factoring or any kind of transaction will be 100% worldwide, and it's immutable, so that data will be there forever.
Yeah, exactly. So all of this helps you, and let me show you how it works. Because it's distributed, immutable, and traceable, you can have a certificate of origin, and that would allow you to be able to say exactly where the eggs or the green salad or the broccoli or the medical things have originated, have their quality control, their biomark put on it, and it helps being traceable. Then it goes in shipment, and then it goes into transportation, then it goes into a warehouse, and then it goes in the shop or on your table. But the important thing is that all those things are on the same distributed ledger, and all the qualities that Eddie mentioned before will materialize, and you will get the benefit of it, be it a small to medium company, be it a distributor or a logistic service provider, and everyone will be able to get funding at a good funding rate, which usually sits with the supermarket or with the large company that usually are at the end of the supply chain opportunity.
So, I will start telling you a small story. This is a real case that really happened. So when you think about blockchain, you think that it's 100% secure. But blockchain, there are 2 types of blockchains. So you have a private blockchain that will have a master key that can override every single action from their users. And I will tell you the small story about an exchange platform from Canada a couple years ago. There was a lot of active users, and the volume was tremendous. The problem when this gained advantages is that the owner, after a couple of years, was found dead, and the master key died with him. So the big problem here was that the entire ecosystem of that platform was centralized, was a private blockchain. So when the private key died, all the active users were not able to retrieve the funds anymore. So in order to to counteract this, our solution is a hybrid blockchain. So it will combine a private blockchain and a public blockchain. On the private side, all users will have multiple authentication keys. So the local authorities, the financial authorities will be able to trace every single step. And on the public side, all transactions will be done on the Ethereum second layer channel. So the cost will be close to zero.
Okay, so assuming there are no questions for the moment, and I see no hands raised up, let's move on to the next slide. That's the the blockchain factoring scenario. So start with a supplier, a farmer, a seller. It's Invoice Cash. This is our company, lending money or acting as a factor. Then you have the distributor. We could also act as a factor to them. Then you have a second-time distributor. We could also act as a factor to them. We're netting the two fundings here, and eventually we have the ultimate buyer, which is at the end of the chain. The great advantage of this funding solution is that it lowers the cost of funding for all those that are on the chain, and everyone will benefit from the best cost of funding or the lowest cost of funding possible, which usually sits with the buyer company at the end of the chain, usually a large chain of either distribution, supermarket, pharma, and so on, or industrial company, or an IT provider, or a large service company. Usually, assuming that you would generate probably like a 1.5% cost of funding savings per month for a chain of 100 million euros a month, that would be 1.5 million euros in savings to be allocated for all the SMEs, medium-sized companies that are part of this chain. As Eddie mentioned, because the transactions are traceable, immutable, and synchronized, you will have savings in your back offices, you will have savings in your paper trail, you will have savings in everything that technically supports the finance function. There is no fraud, there is no friction, so there will be savings generated by the lack of fraud and the lack of friction in this process. So all these advantages will accrue again to the players in the system.
So moving backwards a little bit, I will tell you how every transaction will be linked and how every ecosystem will work. So every single transaction is linked with a smart contract. A smart contract is actually just a small piece of code that will self-execute at a given time when a trigger occurs. So there is, this one is saved on the blockchain, and our provider of blockchain and our partners, Modex, will help us materialize this. So those are the pros of the smart contract. So basically, the cost is close to zero. Security, transparency, accuracy, and autonomy. Everything is recorded on the blockchain, so every single participant on the chain will be able to access the data, alter the data, and trust the data, which is the most important, because right now the world runs entirely on the supply chain.
If we, the two teams alongside Modex are working to deliver the first proof of concept of this structure for a Romanian transaction that involves farmers, packaging companies, logistic companies, and a large retailer at the end of the supply chain. We think that in probably 3 to 4 weeks, we will be able to execute this first blockchain transaction, and we would be delighted to report on the experience that was generated, on the positives and the less positive hurdles that we managed to encounter, overcome, and address, and at the end of the day to share with you the experience and hopefully together with you, be able to implement this technology and this funding structure all across other trades in Romania, in Central and Eastern Europe, and why not in Western Europe. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, we're happy to take them.